um, what we're doing is to look at the roots and
Renford, if I may interject.
Yes.
Let me just suggest, and it's just a suggestion. Let's just talk in general for right now. Basically lay down the framework of why we're here. This basically being our first general meeting, and I think you're going to have some people calling in. So I don't think we're really ready for the meat of the discussion at this time. I think possibly just an introduction of ourselves and what are some of the aims that you have for these meetings on Sunday possibly would be the first order of business.
So let me interject. I'm sorry, but I was the one who said that maybe getting to know one another, because time is a restraint for a lot of people. So I will take that back, and I will definitely hand it over to introductions to everyone. So my name is Tricia Linton. I reside here in Amaranth or Dufferin County of Ontario, Canada. A passion that I have is working with young people, but also adults. I've seen the issues that have resided in our community. And one of the things that I do is I support and I facilitate and coach in terms of men and families and fathers where there's issues, and bringing the family back together. So I do a lot of connecting and a lot more work. I'll restrain that for time. As time goes on, you'll get to know me in the work that I do. I also work with children with different disabilities. So I'll just say that. I'll pass it over to John for him to introduce himself.
Trish, good afternoon, and thank you very much for the introduction. My name is John Perry, citizen born in Jamaica, migrated when I was 10 years old to the city of New York. Been in this country since 1968. Raised a family here, children, grandchildren, a business owner. I've done the gamut. I feel myself very fortunate coming from Jamaica and just trying to find a way of giving back. I'm a radio host on a radio station here, which quite often I have Mr. Renford on and trying to just give him an audience. So just glad to be here giving back.
Awesome. Let me move this over to the movie maker God spoke to.
Oh.
I don't have your name, sorry.
That's okay. That's my name.
Unmute, please.
Okay. Yes, I got it. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Howard Leslie, also known as the movie maker God spoke to. Writer, director, living in Ocho Rios from Florida. Really tuned in, plugged into this kind of topic. I'm passionate about the roots efforts, the out-of-the-box thinking, the self-accountability, the unity, the necessity that we have to think for ourselves in group as a collective. I'm really focused on the circular economy as far as the global scale goes, and everybody has a place in making sure we all fit into the cogs in the clock so the grandfather clock can work how it works. Writer, and I'm just real passionate about this and glad to be here, be a part of this show with wonderful people just as passionate as I am.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I'll have Nakabi Walcott. Am I saying that right?
Hi, good evening. Makiba Walcott.
Makiba, thank you for joining us.
Oh, all right. Mr. Jeffrey is a past student of the school that I currently work at. And we have been speaking for months with regards to our concerns to some of our students at his alma mater. And he invited me to the meeting, so I'm just here to listen, observe, learn, and contribute where I can. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us, and welcome. Welcome, Delilah G. Can you give us a brief introduction of yourself? And we thank you for your time. You have to unmute. Delilah, you have to unmute, hon.
King Delia.
So funny.
I'm like, sorry, I'm trying to say the name Delia. So
Delia, sorry.
It's okay. So I've been Uncle Jeff Benford has been a mentor of mine for a long time, so that's why I'm here. Currently I work in the humanitarian aid sector with a Canadian organization that focuses on community development and crisis response. So I've been doing that for a couple of years. It's a faith-based organization that kind of galvanizes churches to work in communities. So I am working with that. I've been doing the position I'm in now as a project manager over for about 6 months. So I'm kind of like trying to hear like what's been going on and what people are doing to kind of put my ear to the ground to understand like how to even find ways to get my organization to be more engaged with works that are not necessarily associated with the denomination that they're under, but to try to see like how it can expand outwardly. So I'm just here to hear. I'm just passionate about what God's doing in communities and how just church people can do the call as we should be doing in more tangible ways. So that's mine.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you. And Mr. Weston, Fabian Weston. Can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself to the group, please?
Love and unity, Mr. Benford, Jeffrey, open
Mr. Fabian Weston.
rejection.
Who else is online? Who the weekend?
We've got everyone except for you, Benford. Introduce yourself. I'm sure you know everyone knows you, so welcome.
Yes, thank you. So because of that, I won't even introduce who I am and where I'm from and nothing. I just go straight to it. And I want to set the tone for this these discussions. I to say that I've been on the ground in Jamaica for quite a while, in the thick of things in the schools, and have a good sense of understanding. Because when I came back to Jamaica after living many years, and I was just appalled and amazed by what's going on, and the Lord said to me, "You need to get an understanding." So what? Right off the bat, this is what I want to say: that if you don't have an understanding of a problem, you cannot really solve it, and this is where, and it takes great measure of understanding, because what happens with those who are in the diaspora who've been away many years, they don't truly have an understanding of what is happening on the ground, and sometimes we believe that what works in North America will work in Jamaica, and it doesn't. You really have to fully understand what's going on and what the issues are. So sometimes people make inappropriate statements like they're not doing anything and they're too lazy and they're looking for handouts, and that's not true. Many people want to do things, and the teachers are this, and just all kind of misinformation. And then the other hand is now the people in Jamaica have a misunderstanding of the diaspora and believe that, maybe money grow on tree or what, just misunderstand. So the good thing about me is that I spent 30 years in diaspora, 30 years in Jamaica, so I have a full understanding of both sides. So my role is to bring people together from everywhere, and let's come together to deal with the root issues that are plaguing us as a society. And before I go any further, I want to say that this is not just a Jamaica movement. This is something global that we're reaching out to Caribbean, in United States, Canada, Africa. It's a global endeavor that we're doing. The movement that the Lord laid on my heart, I call it the love revolution, because God said at the root of our issue is that we don't know what true love is. And out of that spilled all different kind of things going forward that maybe we'll get into at the end. So the lack of love and rejection that has been in our history has given rise to so many things, a plethora of things like mental illness and aggression and all of these violence and self-hatred and whatever. So this is it for me for now. Thank you. Or Tricia.
Did you cut out or? I'm sorry, did you cut out?
No, I'm finished. Can you hear me? Yeah.
So I would like to open this up to a discussion about what is the understanding of what that everyone has, what the issues are. And I think once we get to talk about it, I think we'll be able to formulate something even further. I'll be taking notes at the same time everyone's talking and putting things into motion in that way. So I'm going to open up the floor. Just everybody be mindful of when the other person is speaking, and that we can have this conversation, because I think it's a great conversation, because sometimes we think it's just something in one area. And one of the things that on my trip to Jamaica in February and March was I realized that it's not just a Jamaican thing, it's a diaspora issue. And the kids are falling behind and falling through the gaps. And even though we think that we can fix it with just certain things, I think it's a deeper issue to how much we are truly disconnected or how unloved we feel. Right? So I'm going to open up the floor to the conversation of what is unconditional love to you, and what do you see from your perspective of what are the issues that you've come across.
First, this is John Perry. Let me be so kind to open up, because I somewhat have an understanding. I had a brief talk with Mr. Renford here just recently, and I was on the Facebook page that he had last week. And one of the things that I came to realize, and he kind of touched on it tonight also, is I am trying my very best to give back as much as possible. But I am on many groups. I do a radio program, as I mentioned, so I get a chance to hear the views of a lot of people. I find myself very blessed, very, very blessed. And I have to give thanks to my parents, because unlike the majority that I've been listening to, I had a full house. I was blessed. And sometimes when you're in that environment, you really don't understand what you have until you hear from other people. And I certainly hope some of my thought patterns has to change to a situation whereby, yes, I had it, but the vast majority didn't. So we can't really talk to it. And there's others like myself, which want to give back. And we're saying, oh, you didn't have that? And they didn't have that. So again, just because I didn't have it, it's my turn now, because I had it to give to my kids, and I'm very happy how my kids and my grandkids turned out. So I don't have the majority of the problems that we're going to be talking about, but I would still love to be to be an input to the program. The gentleman out of R.E.S.C.U.E, I believe I had a conversation with him, and I thank him very much. He's part of the CRR radio group chat, and I made sure put it on the chat, and I thank you very much for being here. One of the questions that you had asked in the chat also, are you going to be sharing this on your media, sir?
I was asking for the other broadcasters in the group, as a matter of fact, and the multi-streaming right now, I was just getting word of it, and I know that everyone's so busy, maybe they didn't know about the new capabilities. I was just spreading the word, making a recommendation that we should, because it tackles so many platforms, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and you can go live all at the same time. I'm not sharing at the moment multiple streaming now, but I plan to in the future.
Let me personally say, this is not my platform here, and I certainly hope, Mr. Jeffries, you don't mind me saying a few things here.
Okay.
This afternoon, we have 8 people on the platform, obviously, and I feel very good that we have 8, because I think this more is a planning meeting than anything else. We need a person like you, because even though we have 8 people here, think about the exponential effect we can have by you streaming it throughout the world.
Yes.
So could be just 8, but the message could be, it's a worldwide message that we have to deliver. So as many people as we're going to invite, yes, we're going to invite them, and we hope that they come on and all that. But we're hoping to get it on a platform that if they didn't get on today, they will be able to view it hopefully tomorrow or later on in the week. I'm done.
Got you. Totally agree.
Don't be done.
Totally agree.
But you're absolutely right, because it is a deeper conversation, and it's something that is definitely we're seeing globally all over the world. Teachers are seeing it, parents are seeing it, and it's really about wrapping ourselves in spending our time finding out what is the disparities and what are the issues that we keep on seeing with kids and families going through diaspora. I'm going to hand this off. Just open up the floor again to anyone else who has anything to say to add to the conversation.
Yes, let me just interject and say something, because this, what we're doing is it's out of years of discussion. Brother John and I, we have gone a couple of years now. We have been talking, and Trisha for a couple of years. And what we're trying to do is to figure out what exactly is going on, and treat with them, and people can chime in, that these young people, they are literally not like us. Trisha said they are the new earth, their mindset, and it's actually, I'm down in Jamaica for 6 years now, and even though I'm trying to figure them out, every time I go into school, I'm amazed at what I see. I'm like, really, the language. So if you have to be down here to actually see it and hear it in the classrooms. You have to have gone into classrooms. I mean, from 3-year-old coming up, they are completely, the language, the behavior. It's not, and you're like, how do we? So you know what is our problem? To catch up with them, to figure them out. So the issue is with us, and I want to say that we know after we're talking about them, we have to reconfigure our minds. The problem lies with us. Rethink and renew our mind to deal with, because they have, you know what they're dealing with? Social media that we didn't have, the music that we didn't have, fractured homes that we didn't have, and all of this is a collusion of all of these come, and there are teachers that can speak to it. Teachers are here who can talk to it, and I'm amazed at what they're going through. I'm saying, no, even if you paid me $1 trillion, I would not be a teacher. So I'm very happy to support. No, I'm kidding you. I said, give me all the mentally ill patient in the hospital. No, I cannot deal with it. In fact, I've gone in 2 weeks ago. They put me in a class to do sex ed, and the teacher had to come and rescue me, terminate the class, and literally take me out. They are the new generations, which have been, and it's not going to get any better, because it's not like we're trying to get them back to us in terms of 1970s and 80s and 60s and 50s. No, they're gone ahead, and the problem, the issue now with us, how are we going to catch up with them? Because what is happening, on account of what they're doing, they have created a whole new subculture. Miss Marie, here, the teacher actually reminded me of it. So there's a growing subculture of young people coming up, and it's growing daily, and it's taking over the normal culture that we have. So they dress differently, talk differently, think differently, the whole works. And it's how do we bridge that gap between us and them to actually reach them, because the suicide is up, violence is up, school dropout. Some of the teachers can tell you the figures, like high schools, and they're reading at grade 2 level, and many of them come to school to hang out, and you're like, what? You hang out, and you say, you don't have a future, they'll shrug their shoulder. You can't figure your mind to say somebody is leaving school, and what you're going to do? I don't know, and I don't care. So what we have right now is like an avalanche coming down the stream, that if we don't get on the surfboard, it's going to just inundate us, as it's getting worse and worse and worse. And I'm not exaggerating. And it's not Jamaica. The Caribbean is seeing it too. It's North America is seeing it too. A growing trend. And what are we going to do? How are we going to respond to it?
Well, there's a video on TikTok. I don't know if anyone has seen it, where a gentleman is talking about the statistics. and the CXC that was written last year in 2024. And he was saying that out of I can't remember, 100,000 or 190,000, only 10,000 passed throughout the Caribbean.
Wow.
Right? And then he's saying in the next 5 years or less, you're going to have 1 million students taking CXC exams and only 50,000 will pass. So my question to the group, and one thing boggles my mind because I went to school in Trinidad, is how did we become behind when we were ahead?
When we were ahead. Social media.
Right? And then when being in Jamaica for the past, I was in Jamaica in October, and again just a few weeks ago, and these kids are dealing with more than the average person. A lot of them are dealing with sexual abuse. A lot of them are dealing with gun violence. A lot of them are dealing with fractured home and having parents being hostile towards them because the pressure is so much. So we really are having this thing with these kids that is different. It is different. And even if I would say in the 20s, they would call me a latchkey kid because my mom was never home. She worked, and I was on the streets doing what I needed to do and figuring out my life. But there was always the basis of I had to perform well. Education was always the fundamental. That was the foundation to who I needed to become and understand. Even though I played the fool and I did all what I had to do, at the end of the day, I still showed up in school, was engaged in learning. These kids are coming, and school is more like a social place where I've seen it, witnessed it, but the kids are all over the place, and the teachers are in the classroom or they're in the staff room because they don't know how to manage, because the behaviors are extreme. Right?
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
Yeah. This sounds like an adult problem and not a kid's problem, and we're addressing it as if we are supposed to be catching up with the kids. Kids are there because we brought them into the world first of all, and we are supposed to be parents. We are supposed to be able to guide them and instruct them, not catch up with them. So I think the problem is not so much the kids as the parents, and I don't think God placed us on this earth to follow our kids or to after our kids. We are supposed to be here to guide them and to direct them and nourish them and guide them and all of these things. But but from what I'm hearing so far, I'm hearing that we're playing catch up. Shouldn't be playing catch up. The problem is not the kids. The problem is the parents. From what I have heard so far that you guys are saying. So I don't think the idea to be trying to understand them so much as to get back to parenting is the problem.
Well, yes, Pablo. I know you very well, and I know that you're doing a great job with your children. They're excellent because we are very good friends. We go way back. We're like brethren. You're doing a good job, Pablo. The ones who we're talking about, they don't have it. So they are, here's the new trend, Pablo. They are growing themselves up. They're coming to school, many of them, no mother and no father in their life. They're growing themselves up. So these one, how do we rein these in? You did a good job. Brother John's parent did a good job. I did a good job with my 3 children doing. The issue is them, and this is why we have some recommendations in the group. If you look in the agenda, and one of them is parent school. Here is the statistics when it comes to parents showing up. If you have 400 parents in the school, and this is across the board, not one school, 400 parents, if you get maybe 10 to a parent-teachers meeting, you're good. And I'm just giving you feedback, in terms of what teachers say, and no, you know what is the problem. I've heard that when the first time they see a parent, when they register the child, and that's the last time, parents block their number, said, don't call me. They actually deposit them into the school and say, you're on your own. Don't call me. This is what we're contending with. So you are right that ideally we should parent and we should lead, but that is not what's happening out there now. They are leading.
Yeah. You're saying then because they are leading, we should we have to be all right. Absentee.
All right. I love this conversation now, because what do you do with those one who are parentless, who whatever? Let us hear. What do we do with them? Parentless and parent don't care, and they're doing all these things. What do we do?
Hold on. Let Pablo finish his conversation, and next would be Howard.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. We're never going to solve a problem that is not. Our kids aren't here. That's furthest from their mind to solve problems that are really ours. So the problem is not to catch up with them. The problem is to guide them. So if there's parents that are not here, we have to figure out a way to find how we can fill in where the parents abandoned. Not necessarily abandoned, but it's not guiding. But I don't see where it makes sense to figure out a child. A child is going to be a child. Them lost. Them don't know nothing at all. If you ask me when I was a kid, what probably I wanted to be a Superman or whatever, or have all these ideas. If you had allowed me then, without structure and guidance and all of these things, I would probably be a different person. But you have to take into consideration that this is not the the child's problem, the adult's problem. So we fall short as parents. We need. I remember one time you used to say it takes a village to grow. We have to go back to that. It takes a village to grow a child, because a child is a child. I can't comprehend anything else outside of that. And that has not necessarily been the norm, but I figured that's how. Well, it is the norm, but I can't think outside of that. I don't know. Maybe I need to, like Renford said, to renew my mind and my thinking, but I will never. I don't think it is where we should be playing catch up.
All right. Let me hear Howard. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you. Just wanted to chime in on the conversation and take it from another perspective, because not only do we have the parentless homes, the children who can't guide themselves and have to evolve into someone who can guide themselves, but we have technology. Like we keep coming back to social media, and I want to tell you guys, I don't know how much you keep up with technology at the moment. There's no going back. The pen and the paper came, people didn't want to use it. All of us use this. The telephone came, nobody wanted to use it. The calculator came, nobody wanted to use it. From scrolls to books, from books to computers to the internet, now AI. We are not going back. We cannot. The children won't need us. They won't need us. They will not need us. They won't need the doctors, the lawyers, the teachers. They just got rid of the Department of Education in the U.S. This is because the AI can teach. The AI can recommend health recommendations so you can self-treat at home. This is going to be incorporated into society so much that they're saying in 10 years, it's going to be everywhere, just like the internet is now. Even some fridges, appliances are connecting to the internet now. And we just saw COVID and what it did to the school systems. A lot of children did not return to school after that. My children didn't return to school after that. They didn't finish school. They didn't graduate after that. And I think in part it has to do with the technology. and what it allowed them to do and feel that they can do anything from anywhere. And we all have that feeling now. So do our children. We didn't grow up with this, as Pablo was saying, as Renford was saying. This is a new era. This is something Mr. Perry hasn't seen. Myself, I'm 43. When I was a teenager in Florida, we started getting these AOL online CDs, 1997, 1998. And they took over. Before you knew it, America Online, Black Planet, and MySpace, and then Napster, and it just kept evolving. But where we are now, this AI, this is not going to be like the last 10 or 20 years. This is not that. This is that on steroids times 10,000. The kids are using it in class. They are making apps to assist the students to outsmart the teacher. The most powerful corporation in the world has just canceled their Department of Education. It's going to be a trickling effect. The AI is going to replace that. This sentiment that the child can't lead at a certain point is totally correct. But as they evolve into who we are today, adults, adolescents, more important, teenagers, we all know with a great ideal, a great drive, and a support team as a teenager, oh man, if we knew what we knew now, we'd conquer the world and everybody would support us. This is the critical time to get with the children and make sure that they're not wayward, like Pablo's saying, and not able to think for themselves, because these are going to be the people who are going to be saving lives, teaching, volunteering, counseling. These are going to be the doctors. These are the future. They are the future. They are the leaders. We can't look at them as anything else. Some may be young, some may need more guidance, but even that one may be a late bloomer, may contribute to society later. Something more than the early starter did, but everyone has their place. Like we all know, we all fit inside this clock so good, perfectly. And if we can get to our true nature and be helped along the way by people like us who care and spend hours deliberating, how do we help the community? How do we return to the village mentality? And make sure everybody has a good experience, even though we can't make the world perfect. But, I'm definitely here to do my part as much as the next man or woman is. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have something to say? Sorry. Oh yeah, I was just gonna jump in, pipe into some of the different topics. But one thing that kind of stood out to me as we were discussing and trying to understand, what's the dynamic, what's going on, I'm recognizing the definition of success is different for this generation, what it looks like. So I think that's probably the gap that Uncle Jeff Renford is probably talking about in terms of us needing to catch up or understand who we're trying to serve. So what I'm kind of in that funny age. I'm a millennial. I'm kind of in between these two. I had a little bit of both sides of it. But what I do understand and what I can recognize in my age group and also people coming up after me is what has been defined as success from our parents is not the same anymore. So a lot of times it's trying to understand why why are they not seeing things like this? Why are they not doing it like this? It's because the definition of what is successful, I think, has changed. What was traditionally deemed as being successful has changed. So let me give you for an example, when we're talking about education, getting a higher education, going to school used to be the thing you aspired to do, to get out of poverty. Now that's not necessarily the way that a lot of kids think now. It's not, you don't necessarily, kind of in line with, I don't remember what movie maker's name is, your actual name, but kind of in line with what he's saying is that children in a way are now, quote unquote, becoming smarter than their parents, and more knowledgeable than their parents. So what parents know or think is being successful to get ahead, it's in their generation, it's that's not the actual route anymore. There's a quicker way. I don't have to go to college. I don't have to do this. I can do something else and I can get quick answers. So it's just a different, we're definitely a different breed of people. And what Uncle Jeff is saying is as those who are ahead of them, we do have to catch up in a way of understanding who we're dealing with. I think a lot of times we still think we're dealing with us and the thinking of what is important or what people aspire to.
That's right.
So I think that's kind of my comment is everybody is right on different angles. I mean, I don't remember the first man's name, but he was talking about parents and how it's about the parents. It is about the parents 100%. And I want to but it's also about understanding the children who we're dealing with and their mentality, and the definitions of success to them is so different now. So we're trying to reach them through our definition of success. So trying to like reformulate or renew our minds to like what that is important to kind of even getting somewhere at all. And even parents, parents, like what are their definitions of seeing a successful child, and what it means to be a parent has changed as well. And I just want to like interject and say this is just not a Caribbean problem, or this diaspora's problem. Like working in the industry that I work in humanitarian sector, this is, especially when it comes to parents being engaged with education for their children, that has been an issue in other developing areas as well. Not even just in developing nations, I think in other areas as well, but it's been in one of the programs that I work with is like child education development. And that has been, we all know that parental involvement does have a significant impact on overall success of children in their education. And we see that, at least in the projects that I'm looking at, that parents are not able to be as engaged. It's not that they don't want to be engaged. That's what we're recognizing now. There's such a gap in the education, the knowledge, that parents don't even know how to engage. And so there's more of a laissez-faire attitude, like how am I going to even help my kids? What can I even do if I wanted to? Back in the day, it was just about, okay, you send your kids to school and your parents might not know how to read and write. Now the gap is even bigger than that. Like parents who don't know how to read and write, but they also don't know about technology, or they don't know about financial literacy, or they don't know. The gap is so big that it's like parents don't even necessarily know how to engage with their children, with their education, so that's why a lot of the times the kids are left alone or not. It seems that what are parents even doing? I think there's an attitude on both sides. Like the children feel like, what's the point? I look at my parents, all the things they're telling me to do, they may have done or pushed to do. What are they? They're not successful in my eyes. And then the parents on the other side are like, well, I don't even know what to do because this world is so far ahead of me. So we're kind of in this weird space of kind of like, as people who are trying to serve the community, re-understanding what people are thinking of as being a success. Like we have to all get on the kind of same page, and it's not a general sweeping thing. Different communities have a different definition. So we're trying to figure out, like in this diaspora, I guess, or whether it's specifically in Jamaica or the diaspora outside of Jamaica, what is success to these kids? What is success to these parents? And redefining understanding what that redefinition is I think will catapult us to being more effective at serving what we want to do. And that's, I guess, my overall thought. I kind of ran on a bit there, but yeah, that's my 2 cents in the mix. So I'll just.
Yeah. John had something to say. John?
Boy. You know, we're living in an age today, and everything that has been said so far is quite valid. But there's another part that is hardly discussed. There are others that have agendas. When I was coming up, when I first came in this country, television was considered programming. And I knew about subliminal messages. I think we're living in an age today, and let's not be foolish or naive about this. There are others out there that have intentions, that have agendas. And in my opinion, the way I see it, and it's not just a Jamaica problem, I think I listen to Africa's conversation continuously now. And as much as they're striving to gain independence, you can see where it's a setup. You know, leadership comes and leadership goes. You know, either they're corrupted, you know, they put a gun to their head, either take the money or, you know, take the bullet. But I think there are children today, even we as parents, we're marginalized. Kids don't come to daddy anymore and ask him the question. You remember when daddy didn't even have an education, but we knew who was the head of the house. We don't know today. You know what it is? It's that social media, it's the internet, and it's AI now. All those questions are being... So, again, how does that parent feel? How does that dad feel? I'm 70 years old, okay? My kids are 40-something years old. My promise to them is, as long as I'm here, I'm going to continue teaching you. I don't even have that connection anymore with my kids. And they were good. They used to come to me diligently. The parents today are negated. You know what I mean? They're marginalized. They're not being used. Somebody else is taking them over. And, you know, we talk about the internet and social media. Who is social media? That thing is not accidental. It's an intentional algorithms. They know how to steer you towards something. Are they still steering us as people of color? But I think what has happened now, it's spilled over. It's catching everything in the net now. Everything. You know, so again, even though we talk about the parents, we talk about the kids, some of this is being driven that neither one of us have control over.
And that's what we got to get ahead of.
True. Can I say something again?
Yes.
Sure.
That being said, I sell a lot of electronics, and I noticed something about and that kind of answers some of the expression you just made there. That we parent, and again, I might be echoing this a lot, but it falls to parents, because I've seen where people come into the store to buy stuff, buy like tablets, and they buy tablets for kids that are 2-year-old.
True.
And after 2 years of them having the tablets, they're on their own. It is like the parents doesn't exist no more. So are we making good decisions as parents? No. So it still falls back to parenting. And then when we talk about my brethren just talked about AI and all of the modern stuff. Remember, you know, before the internet, say back in the days when there was the R.E.S.C.U.E. I've not watched a lot of movie. I'm not 100% accurate, but might not be accurate with this. But in the West, there was modernization was coming, and part of modernization is if I have a gun and I'm good with it, I make my rules. It's the same thing now with I am smart, I know the internet. No. Do you get to make the rules? They don't even have it. No. That's why we have governing structures in place to make sure that all of these stuff, they might have agendas, yes, but there are governing bodies in place to make sure this is put out there in a way that serves most of the time the populace, you know, the majority. So.
But even look at that, my friend. Look at even that. When you talk about governance, you know, we used to have and point to our presidents and our leaders as examples. Come on, can you still do that today? No.
No. So there is where it falls back then to parenting. So do we expose our kids to these things, or do we guide them first and say, hey, listen, you're not ready for this? You're not ready for this. 2-year-old, what doing that with a tablet?
You know.
But can I interject? There's a lot of people that are single parents now, and I hate to say it, the minority is a double parent home, right? Where we're talking about all these good things that can happen, and the parenting skills. A lot of parents are single parents, and they're having a tough time just keeping up with the bills and the roof over their head and the food on the table. And so you have the single parents now. We have to go into now talking about, at one point we saw a lot of men, right, walking away from the family home and having families somewhere else, and the women having to deal with all of these, with the kids and all of this stuff. Now I've seen the opposite happen, where a lot of women are leaving the men to be single parents to raise their kids.
Yeah.
Right? And I was in Jamaica just a couple of weeks ago. It's like a phenomenon now.
Yeah.
It's like, here's your child, and you're not even sure that that child is yours, but guess what? You're it. You tag, you became it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but now that we're in this, do we? It's a difficult world, okay? And they didn't choose to be here, so now we have to become responsible, because we were brought up with the impression that when you have a kid, right, it's your problem. It's not the government or anybody. It's your problem. It's not necessarily a problem, but it's yours too.
Your responsibility.
Responsibility. All right. So, do you know, because of this, right? And remember, you made that decision. You did what it took to get to that point where you're a parent, where you have a child now. So do you know, things is rough and blah, blah. No, you have to be responsible and start making good decisions. So you can't, it's hard, and that's why I buy a tablet, so I can't have to be looking after this child day in, day out. No, you still have to guide. You still have that responsibility to do something for that child that don't know what's going on. Have no idea, no clue, no nothing.
Really?
So do you know? Say, all right, it's because it's so rough, and I understand. I get it, but we can't keep copping out and allowing people to cop out and say, yeah, this is it. No, I can't accept that. But we need to. Another question of mine is are we talking about kids, or are we talking about adolescents? Because the whole thing is to guide them into adolescence so that they can now make good decisions. So we have to start with the kids, and the kids is like Renford was saying, 2-3-year-old preschool, school. That's where we start. And so after that, to adolescence is kind of difficult. Now we have to be figuring them out when they're adolescents. But I'm talking about kids, like preschool. That environment where you are responsible to guide them.
Yes. Yeah.
Let me just say something. Again, back in Jamaica, you have, and what you're saying is true. Like, we have to be able to guide them, but how are we supporting parents to step up to guide them when you have 2- and 3-year-olds giving you gang signs with their fingers in front of and taking a picture at the age of 2 and 3? I mean, where are they learning that? From the same parents that we're expecting them to step up to be the parents, right? And so
I'm laughing because the conversation is going. Sir, I'm not butting in, but it's going in the direction that it ought to go. So keep on talking. I'm listening.
I do have a little bit of a question though, because I think I don't know if I'm the only person on this call that was not born overseas. As in, I don't know where everyone is. When I say overseas, I mean not born in the Caribbean. Is anyone else like that here, or is it just me?
I'm in the Caribbean.
So I was born in the Caribbean.
I was born in Canada. So I'm just trying to understand, like, also that dynamic for me. Like, in this conversation, there's some parts of it that I have to try to, like, understand everyone else's perspective as well on the call, because
I was born here in Canada.
I'm trying to understand how everyone else is.
But I went to school in the Caribbean.
Okay, no, I didn't. I did the whole time.
Oh, I see the difference and I see the gaps, right?
Yeah. So why I was saying that was just for me my own understanding. But I did have a question, because I don't remember the first man's name that's talking about the parenting. I don't remember his name, but he does have very valid points about parenting. And then Pablo. And then Trisha's point about the fact that, well, these very parents that were expecting to parent these younger kids, they don't even know what they're doing. What are we doing to help them? So I guess my question is, what do you, some of the, I guess, more mature people on the call that see such a breakdown in, I guess, how this parents now are kind of dealing with their children. I want to understand maybe your perspective on why you think that's happening, because technically your generation are the parents of those people, of these new parents. So I always kind of like want to understand, like, yes, we're talking about today's parents. So this is like the Gen Z, I guess, after millennial, or the millennial parents, and after that. But their parents, you know, like, what do you guys think, like, from your generation, who was the ones before, were parenting these parents, who parented these parents? What do you think in your generation was the gap in getting through to your children how to parent that your parents gave to you? Like, I think that's important to understand generations, like how things get passed on or don't get passed on. So I was just curious. I'm not a parent, so I'm talking, I guess, to parents who have parented children now, or seeing the parents now that we're kind of referring to with younger children. I'm trying to understand your perspective as parents, why you don't think what maybe you valued or found important, or why it wasn't
don't see the difference, and I want to be unbiased, and I want to be vocal, and I want to speak my mind to all of them. So while we're waiting on them, what are we doing? And let me tell you what we're doing, because it's not like we're starting from scratch, you know. So we're talking here as if we're not doing anything. We have a literacy program that we start on Saturdays.
Sorry. Fred, why are we waiting on them?
Sorry?
Why are we waiting on them?
We're not waiting on them.
That's what he's saying. We're not waiting on them.
We're not waiting on them.
Okay,
yeah.
Wait. To change.
No, that's what I said. We're not waiting
on them. Yeah.
Every politician come out of power in one better place, a nicer house. We're not waiting on them. So while vote, we're not waiting on them. No, we are doing things. So we have identified that literacy is a problem.
Yes.
High school children reading at grade 2 level, so we start a session.
I'm graduating
and can't spell cat and rat and bat. Some of them. And graduating to what? What kind of job you gonna pick up with that? So you're setting them up to be criminal and gunman, because we're down a welfare system and prostitution. And all the child sex trafficking is the parents trapping out the children.
That too.
Holy.
It's a big business in Jamaica, people don't know.
Yes.
But it was an eye-opener to me. You know? So all of these things you're containing with.
Jamaica has a lot of literacy programs. They need to help them. Jamaica has a lot of literacy programs. I'm meeting too many big men who just don't want to learn how to read. They shame. They're not telling you. They don't want to tell you. They have a lot of literacy programs where they can help themselves if they really wanted to progress. If they really took a stock and look around and see how reading helps your life, there are many programs in Jamaica, many libraries. I'm in Ocho Rios. There's an Ocho Rios library. We have the internet. There's too many things available for that excuse. It's 2025.
Yeah, but some people...
It's a shame. I don't know where the shame is coming from, but they have to get rid of that shame, and they have to, for themselves, they have to want it. I guess it starts in school, but somewhere there we need to intercept and make them proud to want to excel past what others have tried to show you.
Can I say something? But it's not everybody that can manage without having the prompt. Right, whether they're adults or not. Not everybody can manage without the prompt. And we have literacy program out there that was put in place for free. You know they're charging, and some people can't even find the bus fare to go to it.
That's sheer laziness. Internet is free. YouTube is free. Don't buy that, mommy. Don't buy that from them. Them full of them lazy. Like master, me I tell you, them lazy.
So here's the mindset. Here's the mindset.
Can I say something really quick?
Go on, like they don't want to learn.
What I've noticed in these kids and the adults that surround them and whatever, one of the things that put in my heart is that we can sit there and say literacy. We can say that they want to read, and we can say that they're lazy or not lazy or whatever it is. But if you are in that position and you cannot foresee a future because there's not jobs readily available,
and no encouragement.
There's no incentive.
No encouragement.
There's no incentive for you to do better other than to steal, be a gunman or whatever. Because one of the young ladies I spoke to, she said, I love poetry, I love to write, I want to be an influencer. And I said, well, this is going to be a self-published off. Nobody put that in her mind, that there's a possibility to be a self-publisher. So without giving them visions and dreams of what they can be, they can be introduced in Jamaica or in the Caribbean, and for them to be entrepreneurs and to go out and do, it's going to be, we're just talking.
They're not getting the info.
We're just talking. At the end of the day, we have to be, what does it mean if Amazon put a distribution center in Jamaica? What does it mean if there has to be incentive? Giving them incentive in order to dream. What's there to dream?
Yeah, no dream.
That's one of the commitments I've made, because the problem is not only at home but externally. We face a grave danger, invasion of the home by the media, radio, television, now internet, and the people on there just don't take that responsibility serious. You have a few broadcasters like Mr. John Perry, CRR FM broadcasters that do take that responsibility serious every day, but not a lot do. They are spewing everything left and right.
So for instance, we have Mr. John here who has a radio station. But what it means to have a radio station at a school where the kids can learn to be a radio host, to be what it is to have own a station. But they get excited.
It's so multifaceted because they have schools. They have schools like Edna Manley. They have schools like the institutes in Jamaica. There's many schools. The cost. I'm getting to that. The cost the cost is exacerbating, but this is one of the little tricks that they have us in, as if we still need that. We are in 2025. Those people are out of a job. You can go online and get the information for free if you so desire. You can go on YouTube and skip Edna Manley. You don't have to pay them zero. Now, if the cost has been alleviated, what's your problem?
The problem is not everybody can do that without somebody to encourage them. Not everybody can do that without somebody to show them. And even though we have in this young generation and social media, they go on there and they just look at the foolishness. It doesn't mean they're that brilliant to go further. And they need somebody to push them to go further.
It started with the pictures in the books. Now it's just scrolling.
My point. So we need to push them. That's what
I just can't believe you can wake up and look around in your own environment and see people reading the phone, the TV, the book. You cannot miss that. Anywhere you go, you have to see how it is helping people and desire to help.
Just looking at pictures.
Yes, but there has to be an inner desire. And like I was saying earlier, God put the spirit in all of us before we were born. So as you guys were saying earlier, you can't wait for everybody. So we have to make that distinction somewhere.
Sir,
we don't develop it up, Papa. Somebody have to develop.
That you were talking about, the agenda in the media that you're talking about, right? Is to deflate that. So maybe the media just did that. By them looking at scrolling through all of these things.
Foolishness, yes.
It probably worked to them disadvantage. So it's true. That you might not see because you're smarter, but the people that get caught in the whole thing, there's an agenda to keep them there.
To keep them there and put all them little foolishness and all them do a scroll and laugh. It's not learning anything from it.
But I think sometimes sometimes I also recognize in myself that
you don't understand how much, like, now all of us have clearly been educated, and to put ourselves in a perspective to be growing up in a situation where education is not valuable or as valued. So we can't even conceptualize, why wouldn't someone want to pick up a book?
I am speaking with 12 years experience. I've been deported since 2012. It's 2025. Yeah. I'm educated in America, in Florida, in West Palm Beach. A little bit of college, mostly self-learning. Since then, online, university.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, I'm talking about from a perspective
I'm looking
of somebody.
I'm looking at it. It's all pride and ego. Everybody want to be a bad man. Yeah. I'm telling you, from first.
I wouldn't agree with
most
that.
I don't agree with that.
I don't know the last time you were in Jamaica. Most people want to be a bad man, and a bad man don't have to read.
What I was trying to say was, just from my perspective as somebody who's had a thorough, like, traditional education, I used to think, like, oh, why doesn't this person want to do this? When I was in a relationship with someone who didn't go to school, and, like, ever, like, they didn't even finish elementary school, and I used to be so confused about it. But I don't recognize that just being in the environment that I was in puts my mindset to understand what's important already. But a lot of people in these communities, certain communities, or in certain families, when education or certain ways of thinking or mindsets are not valued or appreciated, it's not even something to be conceptualized yet. So, I think Leta's her name. So what she's saying is, there are people, yes, they need a push because their mind is not even there yet to know that there's a push need. They don't even know that this is even something to move towards. It was just never even put in their mind ever. In some cases. So that's why I try to change my perspective when I see people who don't seem to have that drive to want to learn or want to better themselves. It's not that they don't necessarily want to. They weren't even trained to know to want that.
In the information age, that is such a cop-out. In 2025, when it's free, it's such a cop-out.
Listen,
everybody
I'm
has a phone.
I'm going to have to go, but I just want to say this. I had a visitor this evening. She came in and she said to me that, oh, you finished cooking? I said, yes. She said, I'm going to go cook because my grandkids, every Sunday they expect me to cook, and I'm going to have to cook for them, the junk for them. Now, we have parents, and I took her on. And I said, do you understand what you just said?
Yeah.
I said, let me explain something to you. A jankro don't even eat a dead dog until it's completely dead. As long as that dog is moving his head, his tail, his ears, and breathing, they don't eat it. So you are speaking this negativity over your grandchildren, and this is what's happening still in society, that we black people still speak this negativity over our children. We tear them down, and then we expect them to excel. So if there is a jankro, and if you are a little slut, and if you are all of this, and how are you expecting me to excel when you already speak non-success into my life? Explain that. And so sometimes this is what's happening. Why they're not excelling.
I'm just interjecting because Trisha is at work too, and people are jumping up. My takeaway on this is a think tank. We're going somewhere, and we have. If you take some time to look at the agenda and the recommendations I have made. Because by virtue of what we have seen, we have made some, and we're talking exactly this. So my takeaway, we need to target parents. We are jumping in with mentorship, building strong families and strong communities. It's all in the recommendation. Yes. I have consulted with so many people down here with my own bare eyes and observer in the class, myself, and school to see what happens. So after today, we're not going to labor the problem. Next week we'll come in with solutions, and in fact we're on the ground running already. So how do we do more and whatever? Because we see the problem and we're not going to just talk about it. So number one, we can jot that down. How do we engage parents? Number two, how do adults who are not parents, us in total, all hands on deck, every living parent, how do we, our adults, how do we get involved?
Amen.
Yes. And I think Dad House is a good one. I think we have, John is a wonderful example. Howard is a wonderful example. Pablo is a wonderful example. And Fabian's here. And I think we just have to have, like, men step up and that have done the parenting and have stepped up to the plate, come and be the mentors in these children's lives, and even other men, mentor other men.
And be patient with them. And be patient with children. Don't just step up in their life and expect that you tell them 1 and 1 is 2, and tomorrow they're supposed to remember 1 and 1.
Yeah. That's true.
So we're going to mentor them. We have to use patience and love.
Commitment. That's. So like the world we're living in today, expecting to act like.
Exactly. Exactly. That's it.
Sir, there's a program in the United States, and you guys can just Google it. It's called Dads on Duty. I put it in the recommendation. These are fathers who pick themselves up and go into this, and it's spreading across the United States.
Wow.
They go into schools that are violent, and these fathers start a group named Dads on. Nothing more, just walk around and greet the children, and just their presence alone, the violence come down to zero. Teachers alone can't do it. I've been in the school, they're overwhelmed, and there's some teachers here, and listen, the advantage that I have I'm in school like I'm one of the teachers. I'm in the classroom too. They are overwhelmed and they're begging for help because the parents have gone, everything gone. So we have to go back to the village, remake the village. Now it's communities. How do we? So I have pulled on the police. I've gone to the police station. You know what I'm doing? Putting together all the stakeholders: police, pastors, citizens, teachers, principals come together and say, how do we figure this out? People from the diaspora. What you coming with to the table? You have to come with something to the table. I said, how are you going to contribute? What do we need to do, and how are we going to get it done?
Well, you just said it, remake the village.
Yes, we have to remake the village. And Brother John said, the village not here again. So, of course, you have to make the village, and then you ever move in a forest, and you have to clear the tree and burn out bush, and then you build a house. We have to make the village gone, fractured, disintegrated, obliterated. So we have to make the village. So next week, how do we start to make the village, pull everybody together, parents, like Peter is my good friend, which is Pablo, brother, big brother. And you know what we say? We're kind of radical, We say we're going to form a posse and we'll ride out and go look for all the wayward father and pull them back. I say, here's my take. Even if you and the lady mash up on divorce, take care of your picnic. No excuse. You hear me?
And the one thing I've noticed everywhere in this world, right, is that mothers who have decided or who is left with their kids only recognize a father if he's contributing monetarily, not physically presence. All of that has no value, and there is where the value lies. It's not everybody making money, but they can say
that's part of the problem. Another part of the problem, Pablo, is that we as women, we get so deeply wounded that we take our children as hostages.
Woo! Exactly. But
that's a whole other show.
I have a younger brother, and I used to tell him this because his kids is going right now. I said, it is your decision, Zin, to be involved in your kid's life, not the woman where you used to live with her do it. It is your decision. I say if you decide not to, you won't. See, not because I am married and I have kids outside before I got married. And this is one thing that I told my we can label it baby mother, is that, listen, you see, when I want to see my kids, I have to see my kids. There's no, you bring something here, no. That is, I have to see them. I want to see them, and that's it. And I have to see them regularly. I don't, but it's a decision I made. And
that's a whole, as my media friend said, this is a whole different ballgame, because they're blaming the fathers. The women are going on with some shenanigans. I saw a young man in 3 Mile here crying the living tears. He hasn't seen his child in 8 years. The mother held the child hostage and said, you have to come up with money. Come up with the hostage. Come up with money. In the basic school, the children have all 5 birth certificates. You know what? 5 different man named Annie.
Backside.
You know? So this whole, the women are now defending the, you know, all mess taking place. Okay. So we are blaming man.
No,
the woman, them are going with some shenanigans.
You're not applying for them.
With men who want to, as Pablo said, you have to fight to see your child. If you don't have the money, you can't see the picnic. And when they send the money gone in a hair and nails and skin bleaching and party at night, when them coming to school, father send money for graduation. When the children are come graduation, because the mother take the money and go on a party and fix up herself. Then the mother come to the principal. After graduation, you know, like I'll deal later. Make us proper little thing and text a picture for me fast. Let me send to the father. Get and this whole thing, 70% of nearly 70% of the children in Jamaica don't belong to the right father.
Oh my
you understand?
God.
You're parenting a child. It is a royal mess. And we need to. So the takeaway is that we have to start to focus on community, family and community. And when we talk about family, then joint parent and mother and father. I mean singles, the fathers, you are to play a role. The mother, you need to straighten up. This is where we need to begin. Yes. This is not in school. We not throw it off on teachers. Don't throw it off on church. Father, be in your child life in a good way. Build relationship with them. That's where it begins. That's biblical. Yep. And we're all biblical here.
That's the one that always works. It never fails.
And the men, and guess what? With all due respect to ladies, and all the ladies understand, God made men, then he make woman, and then children come after. Men have to step up and be men. Responsible men. And whatever. And as I say, it's not a perfect world, and sometimes the best thing to do is to separate, or if murder won't take place, but be involved. Take care of your children, and the mothers need to cooperate. You know what? We need a campaign, a national campaign.
Brother, yes.
Building strong families and community. No, honestly speaking, because we go down the right path. I'm glad we have this discussion, you know, because we're all in agreement. That's where it begins. Forget, but we are taking place at school right now. Until you start to fix the village and fix the thing, we're not going to get nowhere. The teachers are overwhelmed. Them can't do nothing. By the time them reach high school, as you said, Pablo, the dice car, it starts from basics, from them born, it started. So we need a presence in the basic school seminars for these peers. Listen, if I was I heard that I would make it mandatory that parents have to do some workshops. And not only workshop, but follow up. Them should. Somebody mentioned it. The parents need mentors.
Mentorship. So true.
And on top of that too, Renford, I think also too, the teachers not just need support, but they need to be modernized. And I think that's what's lacking as well, is the modernization of a lot of schools in the Caribbean. The technology needs to be present in order to be at the same level as in competition with an industrialized nation. The foundation of the Caribbean will always be the foundation, but in order for us to step up, I think there needs to be more technology and more tools for children to be successful to support the students.
I think it's exactly 7 o'clock now. In my time at 8, so we've got 2 hours. I think we should call it a night. But I think we have come to a consensus in terms of where we should be heading. We're coming back next week and we're going to talk about what we're currently doing and where we're headed. Because we're heading somewhere. We're not just a talk. We're heading somewhere. And I am committed to this. That's why I leave Canada for 30 years. Because God sent me back and said, go back to your own people. I may spend 6 years and figure it out. What to do. Because every day, listen, when you go out there, every day you come home and you say, Lord, did I hear from you or did I make a mistake? No, it's like you're not trying, I'm telling you. And the teachers can tell you. Because it's so bad, and my question is, who made this get so weird? Who dropped the ball? And it looks like everybody dropped the ball.
No, boss.
The home dropped the ball, the community dropped the ball, the church dropped the ball, the government dropped the ball, everybody dropped the ball. Yeah, no, honestly, because Pablo, you know, and we talk about it, if you misbehave a road, people used to beat you and send you home. No, them beat your mother and father the teacher beat you. Then if you ever cry on road and somebody see you coming, they beat you and send you up to your mother. And your mother beat you and say, wait till your father come home.
Yes.
I always hear about this.
No, Pablo. Them a beat we. You can't talk to them.
You get them a beat.
Yeah, and you with them are the gunman them. So me look on the man them and say, oh, no make this get out of hand, so. Oh, look boy, if you're around the community, so Pablo.
Fear.
You know what, somebody backs you down.
Mm-hmm. Fear.
I'm not advocate violence, but you need to, it's called, who in charge? Pablo right, who in charge? Who are the adults here? Come on. The tailor walk the head.
I remember when Jesus was sending out Pete. I don't remember how this go, but him say, remember, fear not. It's fear. Think of people fear for them life. I was talking to a guy the other day, and I said the most time people get involved is when it directly affect them because them life okay as this now. People fear for them living now. Like God is not there. God no, I'm not saying
How did they get gun in their hand in the first place? Because of these young boys them have gun. How them get it? Where them parents it there to make people get them gun?
Brentford, can that guy they will have that gun there? You when you go to do God's work. And the fear that you fear say, hey, I'm going to die. So what if you die doing his work? Isn't that honor?
Alright, so the Bible says
there is no nobility.
When good men fail to do anything, evil prevail.
Amen.
And collectively. Anyway, guys, we're coming back. Come with your ideas next week, or we're gonna move this thing forward in one direction. We're gonna talk. It's building. I have a seminar. Let me close on this. This psychologist, and I'm gonna close now. Patricia is gone. His name is Nick Stinnett. Nick Stinnett. He's from the University of Tennessee, and he went around and did the world's largest survey on families, asking one question: what makes strong families and strong community? And they surveyed over 24,000 families in 50 states of the United States and 24 other different countries around the world, and they came down with 6 qualities that make a strong family: commitment to each other, showing appreciation, spending time together, spiritual well-being, positive communication, and how to handle crisis well. And every family that you put that in, the family get better. In fact, when they put these qualities in the community get better. But here is, so you just said to me right now, Renford, I don't remember what you just said a while ago. And how them I go remember? And you know what the Lord said to me? Because I did this in Canada. I did this seminar. Here's the signs. If you have just 1 meal per week with your child, sit down. All the signs say a sit-down meal, like a dinner. You set the dinner table and sit down and eat together. You would have fulfilled all these qualities. And hear what the signs say. children who have at least 1 meal per week with their family, just sit down and eat, they're less likely to join a gang, less likely to drop out of school, less likely to be pregnant as teenagers, less, and the list goes on and on and on.
Makes such a big
just by having a meal. So where I am, we're gonna start a campaign, building strong relationships and communities. And I have a manual that I've written with all different ideas, practical ideas like these, where you can literally begin to train parents. So I want to start some workshops online and also face to face. And you know what I want to do? Train the trainers. So any of you want be a part of this, where I give you the manual, and you buy the manual, and then you begin to train other parents to put in practical things that I did with my family, and years of research me do. Years and years and years. I can even send you a sample of it, and practical things like that. Just that alone, Just that alone improve the quality of your family just by sitting down and have a meal. Do you know the average time that a father spends with a child per day? A father average 7 seconds.
Wow.
Pat him on the head. You know what happen now? When you go into work, them fast asleep, and when you come back, them in them room and them tablet, and you don't even see them. It is possible for you to live with your children and you don't see them.
Don't see them, true.
And until you make a deliberate effort and say, no, we're going to start, spend time together, eat food together, put away your cell phone, put away your tablet. We're going to start, go to the park, go spend time in a library. As my media brother said, drag your picnic them to the library and go spend time.
Yeah.
And go sit down, carry them, go a park. We need to get back to the basics.
Yeah.
Rediscover it. Put away your tablet. Me not buy no tablet for you. Me not buy no cell phone. No, if you have one, put it away. We're going to spend family time together. And all the basics, we're getting back to the basics. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Renford. This was interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
So next week, we are going to talk about the building strong family community. That's what we're going to talk about next week. How we're going to move forward with this and put it in place. Seminars, workshop, discussion, whatever. That's what we need to drive. First and foremost, put the foundation in place before we can do anything else.
Man.
God bless everybody. Except you have a comment. Brother John, are you there?
I am still here, sir. I am still here.
Silent. Let me hear you.
No, the last thing what I'm gathering from here is the most important thing is the children. And I think we're kind of overemphasizing this thing about family because some of them, fathers are not in their lives. Okay? There's not that man in the house. It still comes back to that village, that community. What are we going to do with those kids that don't have a father, that don't have that opportunity to sit down for the meal and all that? This is where we come in. And just remember, each and every one of us, the 10 of us here, we're here for a reason. We have discovered what our purpose is. We have discovered what our why is. We have to be that disciple out there trying to exponentially galvanize who we know. If they're not coming to parents-teachers meeting, I know that you want to get meeting and events and all that. If they're not going to parents-teachers meeting, what is going to incentivize them to come to these meetings about being better parents? And I'm going to go ahead and close with that. We individually here, we know what we have to individually do, even without the committee. I know what I have to do on the radio. I know what you're doing in the communities, and each and every one of us know within our hearts the assignment that he has given us. Let's go ahead and do those in between that meeting that we have on a weekly basis.
Yeah. I'm gonna put together a strategic plan and send it out to everyone. And looking at all of these issues that we talk about tonight and see how we go forward. So it's a work in progress, it's a draft, and we're gonna add to it, Twinkie. Yeah, and Brother John is right. Many of them don't have fathers in home. What do we do in those steps? And all of these things, all right? So God bless you. Thank you for tuning in. This was a very lively discussion. See you next week. We're coming up with some strategies. All right, God bless you, everybody. Thank you very much.
All right.
Bye-bye. Bye. Take care. Bye-bye.